What is up, denizens of the interwebs? It's Arza Chats here, coming at you with another video. This time, it looks like we're having another DEI meltdown in gaming. So hop in, losers. We're going to the not Shire. Alright, so the basics of this story is there's a brand new Lord of the Rings based game that kind of looks like a mix between Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing that takes place in the Shire, and it's not getting a whole lot of positive reception. If I play some of this video, you'll see that the character design is pretty poor. I mean, what the hell is that? And what the hell is that? I mean, that sums up every single problem with this game. Everything wrong with it, down to the character designs. And the whole problem with the character designs is just how full of modernity it is. The characters look unreasonably cutish, they don't look particularly gendered, and they look kind of stumpy and lame. And while I admit that the hobbits are designed to look stumpy, I figured it'd be a good idea to go and compare these designs with what hobbits are supposed to look like according to the Lord of the Rings Wikipedia page. As we all know, Wikipedia is the highest source of information. Now, Professor Tolkien had stated that hobbits were fattish in the stomach, shortish in the legs. And if we go back to these character designs, you can see that while they are shortish in the legs, they absolutely are not fattish in the stomachs. In fact, none of these hobbits seem to have any amount of particular body fat in the stomach as it is concerned, instead opting for a cutish more design. Tolkien then continues on to say that they have a round, jovial face and ears only slightly pointed and elvish. Going back to the design, you can see that the ears are just slightly pointed, and their faces are round, but I wouldn't call that jovial. I would especially call that horrifying. All of their faces are thoroughly horrifying, and not at all how Tolkien describes it. The way Tolkien describes them sounds more cherub-like. These are more straight out of the kinds of face scans they use for video games like Star Wars Outlaws. And more interestingly enough, I find it very fascinating that the character designs look a whole lot like these developers who are talking in this video. Tolkien then continues on to say that the feet from the ankles down covered with brown hairy fur. If we go back and look at where these hobbits show their feet, you'll notice that there is no hair below the ankles. You can almost see what looks like it could be hair, but I'm pretty sure that is just flare from the pants. Okay, so there's a little bit of hair at the top of the foot there, but that's not at all a hairy foot as Tolkien would have imagined them. The way that he makes it sound is that the hair is all over the foot and they have leathery soles. The soles furthermore look normal. These don't look like hobbits. They look like activists. Now, going back over to Tolkien's description, we also see that he mentions that they wear green velvet breeches, red or yellow waistcoats. Looking through these designs, the closest thing I can find to an accurate character design, based on the description of clothing, is this guy right here. But this doesn't look anything like a hobbit, as he's all tattered, worn, and doesn't look at all friendly or charitable or well off as most of the hobbits seem to look. The rest of the characters are wearing clothes that look nothing how you would describe hobbits. Like this one who's wearing a yellow shirt that's buttoned up and doesn't look very hobbit-like at all, and brown pants. Not everything down to the character designs looks wrong in this game. And of course, the biggest problem with these hobbits is just how utterly ambiguous they are. They don't look at all like they could be identified as male, female, or whatever. Even though Tolkien specifically said that male and female hobbits had several different traits, including that female hobbits were generally seen as more gentile and smoother, and the fact that male hobbits are usually 1 to 2 feet taller than the average female hobbit. With all that lacking from this game, it sounded all hard to identify what the main goal of this game is. The point of the game is the diversity and equity that they're putting in. And to quote Heel vs. Babyface, it was the current day bullshit like what was responsible for killing Starfield and all these other DEI infested games. It makes it very obvious where this game stands and what the goal is. The only thing they seem to have gotten right at all is the fact that they, live in holes in the ground in New Zealand. That's basically it. And everyone else on Twitter is equally in agreement that this game looks like trash. We want Tales of the Shire to feel like a warm hug. What it actually feels like is a giant kick to the buttocks of Tolkien and the Anglo-English mythology he worked tirelessly to create. Here's a sign that I'll be skipping Tales of the Shire, as I've been saying. I think that the hypothesis that activists use hair dyes, similar to how frogs use bright colors, to warn that they're toxic and you should avoid them at all costs because they will make your life miserable if you go anywhere near them. If it works for birds, I don't see why it doesn't work for humans. And of course, all of this is just going into how every single person is insulting and bullying and making fun of, even going as far as to call it Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the DEI and getting banned by the game. I put out my own mean tweet, and let's check real quick to see if I myself am banned from Tales of the Shire. Unfortunately, I am not banned yet. Let's see if I can get there. Here's to hoping, right? Now, this game looks like it's going to have its niche. It looks like it's going to have some people who are going to play it because they might find the style cutesy, because they really like the life sim, depending on how the gameplay is anyway. Because games like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, while those ones are significantly better designed, they don't have the weight of the IP behind them like Lord of the Rings does. So I can see some of the more normie shipper crowd, like the people who are still watching Rings of Power, very few of them are, and people like Disbrew who are lesbians. I can see them all playing this game. But I don't see this game having wide appeal, and with the game having a delay of several months that has just been announced, with the game not coming out until 2025, when before it was supposed to come out this year, that leaves a lot of concern for the game developers. I'm sure that they must have paid a whole lot of money between getting the rights to The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, as well as in actual development. Especially if you look at those people, I'm sure they spent a whole lot of money on their HR department, and that isn't going to bode well for what's to come with that game. So, I mean, if you like it, you're allowed to like it. And don't go and harass any of the developers or any of the people who do like it. You can talk about how little they know about Tolkien, but that's not harassment. But do not go out and harass them either way. So, this was a bit of a shorter video. If you guys are looking forward to this game, let me know. But if not, I'm going to be sitting back and enjoying the dumpster fire.